Hello, today I'm going to be taking you through an intermediate session, and all you'll need for this session is a flat head cushion and a pillow and a softball. So I'm going to get you started into standing position. You'll be standing in neutral with your toes pointing forwards, hip socket distance apart, and in a nice mid position. So just rocking your weight into your toes and then back into your heels, and then find that nice mid position between big toe, little toe and heel. Then I'm going to get you to lock your legs and then release them so they're straight but they're soft. So rotating your pelvis forwards and backwards. Think of drawing up your pubic bone to your belly button as you tip your pelvis back, and then release. You're just going to get a little bit of lower abdominal engagement here on the pelvic tilts, and then find that halfway point where you're somewhere in the middle, and then think about inhaling nice and wide into the ribs. As you breathe out, keep the sternum up but drop the lower ribs down, and then just relax your shoulders. Do a couple of shoulder rolls here and allow your shoulder blades just to glide down towards your back jeans pockets, just nice and heavy, so you're not pushing them down, they're just relaxed. And then arms can stay nice and relaxed by your side, and think of all the hairs in the back of your neck standing up so you've got this little length all the way through. From here we're going to go into your footwork series, so bending down into the knees, float the arms forwards, lift up the heels, and then straighten legs and then lower back through. We'll continue through this movement with your footwork series, and your focus is to be mainly on your spine and your pelvis. So I want you to keep this lovely neutral pelvic position where your pelvis stays nice and level as you roll through, and then you can just keep your spine in this nice natural long position. So we're not arching our back, we're not leaning forwards with our shoulders, everything's staying tall and in perfect posture. Then you're going to think about your ankles. So you make sure you go down as low as you can with the heels down, then lift the heels up and then come all the way back through. So you're trying to get as much range in the nice stretch in this down position and lift. So just going for one more here with your footwork series in this direction, and then we'll change it through. So going up to tiptoes, bending the knees, lowering the heels, lowering the arms, coming back up through to standing. We'll keep this going, just going nice and fluid at your own pace, thinking about breathing, thinking about making sure you keep that tall posture, core stability is working, getting lots of stretch into the ankles. And then imagine that your pelvis is that bucket of water, and as you do it, make sure that you keep the bucket nice and still and the water doesn't spill out either side. Just going for one more here, and then coming into your neutral position. We'll just change up and do some balance work. So you'll go into your tightrope stance, so one foot in front of the other. I want your weight to be equal between front and back foot. And then just softening into your knees and ankles. You can keep your hands onto your hips. Then when you're ready, you'll close your eyes, and then we'll just keep this going just for a few seconds with our eyes closed. As you're holding this, make sure you've still got a tall posture, so you've not stooped forwards with your chest. Pelvis is in neutral. Ankles will be wobbling around, you're soft into your knees are going to absorb that wobble so your pelvis can stay nice and still, and then there's no waving around in your torso. And then open your eyes, and then we'll change over our lead leg. So swapping over front and back leg, make sure the toes are pointing forwards and in alignment. Soften into the ankles and knees, keep your weight equal between front and back leg. Lift up nice and tall again, so all the hairs in the back of your neck are standing up, shoulders are relaxed, chest is lifted but abs are drawn in. And then when you're ready, closing your eyes and holding this position here. And allow your ankles to wobble and do their thing. Keep your breathing normal. And then open your eyes and relax. Now we're going to take it into second position, so you're going to turn out and take your feet nice and wide now. We're going to turn the knees and the toes out as much as we can using our bottom muscles, so we've opened the front of the hip sockets. From here we'll just bend into some squats to begin with. We're keeping that straight spine position, so we're just dropping straight down with our sitting bones. Send the knees out over the second and third toe, and as you get to your lower position, just make sure the knees haven't gone forwards of the toes. If they have, you just need to take your feet a little bit wider. So just going up and down to begin with, working on opening through the inner thighs and squeezing up using your glutes, getting that nice turnout as well. Last one here. So bending down into the knees, lifting the heels up, straightening the legs and lowering the heels, and then we'll keep that going. Keep the chest lifted, keep the spine nice and long, pelvis is in neutral. We'll go for 3 more here, and then we'll change direction after the next one. So last one, and then we'll reverse it. So we'll go up to tiptoes, bend into the knees, roll the heels back and squeeze up. And imagine as we squeeze up, we're trying to pull our inner thighs together. Obviously, the legs together, but you get, and this will add in some nice pelvic floor work as well as adductors. Last 2. And then relax. Well done. Now I'm going to get you to come into standing, and I want you to be thinking of your hip hitching muscles, as I call them. So with this next exercise, we're going to go onto one leg. You're going to lower your standing hip as if you kind of go into that slumped posture, and then we're going to squeeze in through our standing hip and lift up. So we lower the free hip down, then we squeeze in through the standing hip. So this would be the hip hitching exercise. Normally we'd do this standing on a step, and we'd lower the free heel down below the step height and then bring it back up, but we can do it with a bent knee here. So I want you to just think now, squeezing your standing bottom, pulling in through the side, bringing the hip in underneath you, and then relax it back through. Now after a few repetitions, you should start to feel it into this region here. If you're feeling it more in your quad, push down into your heel and squeeze your sitting bone up just a little bit more. See if you can get it into your glutes just that bit more. Think of drawing in through your pelvic diamond and having the pubic bone pulling up to the navel a little bit, so we've got a nice long lower back. Just going for 1 more. Squeeze the hip in. We're going to hold our hip in this hitched position. From there, we're going to go into your bowlers. So you bend into your knee, you keep a nice straight spine. We're now going to pivot forwards. If we've got car headlight beams on our hips, we're going to dip the beam down, and then we're going to reach through and stretch like we're bowling a ball. Then we come all the way back up into standing, squeezing our hip hitching muscles just that little bit more. So again, down into the knee, tip through from the pelvis, reach and stretch, and then come all the way back through. Watch points as you're doing this, is making sure your alignment's right. So knees pointing forwards and hips stay level, so I've not dropped into that free hip. So you're using those hip hitching muscles again. As you reach and stretch and you go forwards with the body, check that you're still lifting abs and chest. So we've got postural muscles working in our upper back and our abdominals to keep a nice long spine. We'll go for 1 more. Your bottom should be burning by now. So bending into the knee, tipping forward from the hips. Hips stay level, knee alignment's there. Squeeze all the way back, and then you can rest through from there. So changing legs, we're going into hip hitching first. So from here, you get your balance, and then you just relax into a lazy position. Then squeeze your bottom in from the side, pull the hip in underneath you, and then release, and feel the work coming from here. So you want to really clench into here, and then relax it, and then draw it back in again. So we'll just keep going with your hip hitching. Just make sure you're nice and relaxed through the rest of the body. You're still breathing nice and normal. Balance is staying there. Squeezing the bottom muscle in. We'll go for 1 more, and then draw it in and hold it here. Squeeze as tight as you can through the side of your hip, then into your bowlers. So bending into the knee, think of your knee alignment, knee going forwards, tip forwards from the pelvis, abs and chest are lifted, reach and stretch like we're bowling our ball, and then come all the way back through, squeezing your hip hitching muscles. So again, down into the knee, tip forwards from the hips, reach and stretch. Our posture's nice and long, come all the way up to a really tall standing balance, squeezing in just a little bit tighter, and then just rolling through the movement. We've got 3 more here. Focus on your alignment, your balance, and your posture. And then we're just going to take it for 1 more. So squeeze in through the hip hitching muscles. Off we go, we bend into the knee. Tip forwards from the hips, reach and stretch. squeeze all the way back up, and then you can relax. And now we're going to go into some roll downs next. So coming to the ends of your mats, you're going to bring yourself back into your neutral position. So just rocking forwards and backwards. Find that nice mid position. Then when you're ready, just bring your chin to your chest and slowly start to curl forwards, one vertebrae at a time, all the way down. When you get down to the bottom, just go nice and heavy, just relax. Think of your whole, there's no tension into shoulders and neck. Then when you're ready, sway your hips around the sides and let the arms just follow. And then come back to center, hold it here. We're going to squeeze our bottom muscles, roll the pelvis back. Once the pelvis comes back, then we just restack one vertebrae at a time, all the way on top. We'll go again. So a couple of shoulder rolls. Bring your chin to your chest. Tuck through, open the shoulders, let the arms just dangle underneath the shoulder blades so they'll float forward as you go down. Let the shoulder blades go heavy, let the neck relax, take the tension out of the back, take a breath in and out at the bottom. As you breathe out, go a little bit heavier into the position so you can relax a little bit more towards the floor, and then go around into your pendulum swings, swaying your hips from left to right, getting a little extra stretch through the sides, and then coming back through the center. Squeeze the bottom muscles, roll the pelvis back, keep the spine curly and long, and then once the pelvis comes back, then just restack one vertebra at a time. So we'll go for one more, and then we're going to walk it out to hands and knees next. So bring your chin to your chest, slowly curling down, one segment at a time, rounding, lifting your belly button up to hollow into the abdominals. Then when you get to the bottom, bring your hands to the floor. If you need to bend your knees, then do. And then we'll walk it straight out to a hands and knees position. So we'll start off with our cat stretch. So knees underneath our hips, wrists underneath our shoulders, middle finger is pointing forwards, and we've spread our fingertips wide. We're then just going to think about tucking the tailbone under and rounding up into what I call angry cat position. So you'll round up every segment of your spine, hollow the belly button up towards your spine, squeeze your bottom to tuck the tailbone, and then release. Send the tailbone away, allow your belly button to relax to the floor, let the lower ribs relax, but then lift the collarbones up, lengthen through the back of the neck. So you've tucked your chin in like you're holding a peach, but then you're going to push the back of your head upwards towards the ceiling. And then we'll go again into your angry cat. So tucking tailbone under, rounding through, squeeze the bottom, squeeze the abs, squeeze a little bit through inner thighs and push away with your hands so you widen the shoulders. Imagine there's a hot candle underneath your belly button and you want to pull up away from the heat of the flame. Then release. Roll away, relax the belly button down to the floor, go up through the happy cat, and now imagine the candle has now moved forward and it's just above, just below your collarbone. So you're going to push the collarbones up and lengthen the upper back. You want to feel the stretch between the shoulder blades. If you're not feeling it there, just tuck the chin in a bit more and push the head up. And then we'll go again through your angry cat. So rounding up, push away from the floor as much as you can. Get that nice mobility, and then roll away, go through happy cat, open the chest, lengthen through your upper back, and then keeping the happy cat in your upper back, I'm going to get you to just send your tailbone away like you're making an angry cat with your lower back, and we've flattened out the spine. So you've lifted the chest and you've lifted the abs here. Now from here, you're going to tuck your toes underneath you, and then lift the abs up to float the knees just up a centimetre off your mat. Feel like you're squeezing your armpits towards your hips, so pulling the shoulder blades away from your ears, and we'll hold this. Check the ribs are still tucking in, so we're lifting abs, lifting chest. We have a nice long spine. Imagine that your spine is a table. We're going to keep all our drinks nice and still, and then lower back down. Now we're going to take it up to down dog stretch. So when you're ready, you're going to lift up with the hips, straighten the legs. Now we'll just go for a couple of heel raises. So you lift your heels up nice and high, and then lower the heels down towards the mat, and just going in your own pace here with these. And then push the heels down, hold them there. Now reach from your fingertips to your hips as though you're trying to stretch your spine out. And I want you to pull your belly button towards your thighs, folding yourself into two, just that little bit more. And then we'll prance it out, so we'll roll it and walk through the feet. So from here, pressing one heel while you lift the opposite. And then when you're ready, press both heels down. Hold the stretch just for a few more seconds. Really try and lock your knees out and pull your chest to your thighs. And then relax, bend the knees back in. We're going to child's pose now. So take the knees nice and wide, heels together, drop the bottom back and drop the chest forwards. Then we're going to roll all the way back through. And now I'm going to get you to lie down onto your tummy, and you'll need your folded towel or your flat head cushion next, just to pop your head onto. So coming straight down onto your tummy. So from here, we'll take our hands out into a W shape. I want your hands roughly between head and shoulder height here, depending on how flexible you are into extension. So if you're not flexible, take your hands higher so they're head height. And if you've got a little bit more mobility into your back, you can slide your hands lower and the elbows more towards your waist. From here, point your toes away, push your pubic bone down into the mat and lift your belly button up, so you're tucking your tailbone underneath you. So if you imagine you've got a cat's tail, tuck it between the legs, use the bottom and the abdominals and hold that there. Then when you're ready, from here, we're just going to tuck the chin in and lengthen the back of the neck, and then float the forehead just off your towel or cushion. Then lower the head back down, and then we'll go again. So tuck the nose down to the chest, float the forehead up, keeping the nose pointing down towards your chest. Feel the little bit of stretch between your shoulder blades and into your neck, and you're keeping your abdominals lifted and the tailbone tucked so your lower back doesn't work here. Then lower back down, and we'll go again. So two more in your own time, just feeling the stretch from your tailbone through to the crown of the head, like your spine is being stretched from both sides. And then the last one. And then now we're going to take it up a little bit higher. So you'll float the forehead up, then we'll just float the collarbones up. Keep the chest lifting as high as you can, but we're keeping nice and relaxed into our arms. I'm not pushing into my hands and my elbows. I'm still lifting my abdominals, so it's not a very big movement this. I just want you to think of that mid-back between the shoulder blades, getting this lovely swan type stretch upwards, lengthening through, trying to curl upwards, and then lower back through. Double check you're not feeling this into your lower back. So you took the nose down to your chest, you stretch the neck, you float the head up, keeping the stretch, then slowly float the collarbones just a little bit higher without pushing into our hands and without using our lower back, so our abs are nice and tight. Lower back through. We're now going to take that up a notch and go into dart. So hands go into your sides, so you're going to hold onto your side of your legs, little fingers pointing up to the ceiling. Slide the shoulder blades away from the ears. When you're ready, tuck the chin in and you float the forehead up, and then slowly we slide the hands down our trouser legs towards our knees, lifting the chest at the same time. Then slowly lengthen forwards and down. So again, you take the shoulders away from the ears, you float the forehead up, keeping the eye line down, then slide the hands down, feel the chest lifting away from the floor, and at the same time making sure we're not dipping into our lower back through. And again, so shoulders away from ears, tuck the chin in, lift the head, float up, drawing the hands down towards your feet, so you're pulling those shoulder blades away from your ears and curling up through the upper back. Let's go for two more here. It's a nice strong exercise for our postural muscles, this. Last one. Should be feeling it into the core as well, so we don't use our lower back. And then release. And then from here we'll push up into our swan pose. So hands come back in, and again, depending how flexible you are, place your hands where they need to be. Float the forehead up just as you've done, lift the collarbones. Keep the elbows down initially and just see how high you can lift your chest without needing to lift the elbows. Keep pushing the collarbones forwards and up. And then when you're ready, continue all the way through, all the way through the spine into your full swan pose. You've got the length in the back of the neck, so you've not lifted your nose to the ceiling. You're keeping your nose pointing forwards and feeling like the crown of the head is being pulled up to the ceiling. You've pushed back away from your hands and your shoulders are pushed down. Then when you're ready, bend the elbows, keeping this beautiful curve upwards with your spine. Bring the elbows to the floor, a bit like a tricep dip. And then now once your elbows are down, feel like you're elongating forwards, stretching the spine, making it longer as you place it back down to the mat. And off we go again. So you float the forehead up, keeping the chin tucked. Go as high as you can, keeping that nice position of holding that peach underneath your chin. Feel like being pulled up through the back of the head. Slowly curl all the way through every segment. Push yourself away from your hands. Lift the crown of the head up more. Feel your shoulder blades pressing down. Then when you're ready, bending into the elbows and slowly lowering all the way down with the elbows. And then elongating the spine forwards all the way through. One more time up into your swan stretch. So floating up in your own pace, going as high as you feel you comfortably can. If ever you feel it in your lower back, either draw up with the abdomen or just don't go quite as high. And then slowly bending through the elbows and lowering and lengthening all the way back out. And then we'll push back to child's pose. So pressing back through, take your knees nice and wide, drop the hips back to the heels and rest your chest forwards onto the mat. And then slowly curling all the way back through. We're going to grab your soft ball and we're going to go into a little bit of glute work. So you'll need a squishy ball. If not, grab a thick cushion for this next exercise. We'll go into a hands and knees position, so knees are underneath the hips, wrists are underneath the shoulders. We're now going to take the ball behind your knee and squeeze it. So you're going to pull your heel up towards your bottom. Think about your long spine. So we've lifted the chest like a happy cat and lifted the abs a little bit like an angry cat. Now, think when you're in this hands and knees position that you keep your spine nice and still, and we're not going to sway left or right over our hips or our wrists. So, keeping centered, draw in the abs and float this leg up. From there, squeeze the heels to the bottom a little bit more. Keep the belly button pulled in and tuck the tailbone under so you lengthen the lower back, and then we're going to pulse up. So push your heel up to the ceiling. Providing that you don't lift too high, you can keep this nice flat back. If you go up too high with the knee, you'll end up where you arch the back and your belly button will drop. But I want you to lift the chest and lift the abs. Keep the hips nice and square. Little tiny pulses up to the ceiling. When you're ready, we're going to hold the opposite arm up. From here now, we're just going to do tiny little slow raises where we lift the arm and we lift the knee together. Keep the abs lifting. Just going for that end range. Keep squeezing your ball as tight as you can, like you're trying to pop it. Go for 2 more. And then release. You can take the ball out of the way. We're now going to advance our Superman exercise by adding in our cat stretch that we did at the beginning. So we're going to round into angry cat and at the same time pull the opposite hand to the knee. Round ourselves even more, lift the abs, lift the chest. Then when you're ready, you're going to extend away and now we're going to lift our chest and open out as much as we can. And then draw it back in, round into angry cat, pull the knees to the chest and then reach away and extend. This takes a little bit more stability over our hand and our knee that's down. So we're going to think of keeping the shoulder blades pulling back away from the ears. We're going to lengthen as much as we can. We're opening the spine, both directions. Think of going into angry cat with the lower back as we pull in. And as you stretch away, think of the upper back, the chest lifting more than the leg. And then last one. And reach away. And then release. And then we'll change to the opposite side. So grabbing your ball again. Pop the ball behind the knee. Go from your hands and knees position, and when you're ready now, you've got the chest lifted, the abs lifted, you've tucked the tailbone and flattened the lower back, take the knee up, keeping this length here. then little tiny pulses. We're squeezing our heel towards our bottom, and then we're just pushing our knee up to the ceiling, tiny, tiny pulses. You'll find this fatigues in bottom and in hamstrings. We stay centered, so we've not lifted or dropped this free hip. And then when you're ready, take it out, float the opposite arm up, and now slowly lifting and lowering at that end range. So we've gone from fast pulses to now controlled contractions at the end of range. We're keeping our stability through our stationary knee and arm. 2 more here, still squeezing the ball. And then rest. Take it down, take the ball away. Now we'll go into our cat stretch with our Supermans. So bring the knee to the chest and the hand pulls in, and we round and lift into angry cat. Then we extend away, abs are still drawn in, lengthen and lift the chest up away from the floor as far as you can. Then pull it back in. So the abs rounding and lengthening the back, and then as we lengthen away, we float the hand and the foot up as high as we can, lifting the chest but keeping the abs drawn in. So pulling through, nice big stretch. And then elongating away, lifting through, getting a nice reach through the fingertips, right through to the toe. Now lift the belly button up, lift away from the floor, and then elongate and stretch. And then now we're going to go for one more. So pulling it in, rounding the spine, and then stretching away, opening the chest. One more time, take it back into a child's pose. Just relax here, take a few breaths. And then rolling all the way back through. And then now we're going to go into a lying position for some core work. So you'll need your ball nearby, and when you're ready, you'll just swivel around onto your bottom, and then we'll just roll it all the way down, one vertebra at a time, onto our back. And then bend the knees up, have the feet flat, ankles and knees and hips into alignment as if they're on little tram tracks. Take a diamond shape with your hands, so fingertips and thumbs together, and then just place it onto your pelvis. So your thumbs are pointing up towards your belly button, fingertips to the pubic bone. Just roll through your pelvic diamond now, forwards and backwards. So as if you're rolling a marble towards your thumbs, and then rolling it away to your fingertips, lifting the belly button up. Go as far as you can both ways onto your pelvis, and then just find that nice halfway position where you're in your neutral. And we're going to keep the hips really heavy here, so relaxing your bottom, letting your back muscles relax. Now we'll interlock the fingers, bring the hands behind the head, elbows up to periphery, shoulder blades away from your ears. Take a nice deep breath in, widen to the ribs, and feel yourself filling the back of your ribs into your mat. On your breath out, drop the front of the ribs down as if you're tucking your ribs into your abdomen and come up into this curl up. I want you just to notice as you do this what's going on with the rest of your body. So check the knees aren't moving at all, not even a millimeter. Pelvis stays nice and still, lower back is relaxed, it's all in the abs. You're breathing out to curl up, you accentuate that out breath of dropping the ribs down, and then the neck and the shoulders stay nice and relaxed. So the head is heavy into the hands, but then between your hands right through to each shoulder blade, you feel a connection. You're pulling your shoulder blades down and like gluing them onto your ribs so that the neck can stay nice and relaxed. What I don't want to see is that you pull your head up and you've tucked your chin to your chest. So lie back down, hold an imaginary peach underneath your chin, keep that there and just curl from the middle back with the ribs. We'll go for one more here. And then lower back through, and then relax. We'll take the ball now and pop it underneath the hips. So bridge the hips up, pop the ball straight underneath your bottom, and then when you're ready from here, you keep your hips nice and centered. Hands can rest onto hips with the elbows up, but the shoulder blades nice and heavy, collarbones nice and open. Check your neck feels long, you've lengthened the back of the head onto the pillow. And then we're going to draw our pubic bone towards our belly button using the lower abdominal muscles but without flattening the back. And then drop the ribs down and feel the upper abdominals connecting. So I want you to feel upper and lower pulling towards each other. Then when you're ready, float one leg up to single tabletop. Double check as you float the leg up and down that you keep your back nice and relaxed so there's no tension into your back. We'll change the legs through. Alternating. Now double check there's no shift left and right on your pelvis. You keep your pelvis nicely centered. And then when you're ready on the next one, we'll float up to single tabletop position. Hold the knee directly over the hip, draw in the abs just a little bit tighter, and then bring your second leg up to join you to double tabletop. We'll now float the arms up, keep the shoulders nice and heavy into the mat, so shoulder blades are really dropping. Now from here we're going to dead bug, so we're going to go opposite arm and leg, reaching away, stretch them, then lower down as far as you can without losing your pelvic stability. Draw them back into center and change to the opposite side. So we reach, extend the leg up, and then lower away with the arm and the leg, and then fold them back up to our start position. Now breathe out as we stretch away. Inhale back in. Now a nice strong out breath is needed to keep that nice tight core connection. So as you breathe out, you're really dropping the ribs into the abs and at the same time pulling up the pelvic floor muscles and the lower abdominal muscles towards your upper abdominals. So get that really strong core connection here. Feel if there's a difference from left to right. See how low you go with your leg. And then come back to center and we'll hold it here. Now we're going to go out to the side. So we'll bring our hands together and bring our knees and ankles together. Now from here I'm going to take one hand out to the side, lowering to the floor. And then we'll draw that back up to our start position. So just starting with the arms, see how far you can go without shifting with your pelvis over the ball or feeling like you're pushing down into one shoulder more than the other. So we're reaching as far out to the side as possible, keeping balanced onto the ball. So you'll start to feel already there's a little bit of work going on in your obliques just to stabilize you. Now keep the hands zipped together. Then look at your knees, just a gentle look down, and knee and ankle out to the side and then bring it back into the middle. Now this one, I only want you to go as far as you can without the stationary knee moving. So only one knee is moving. Check the other knee doesn't wander out a little bit as well. Now when you're ready, after this next one, we're then going to take opposite arm and leg away. So now it's going to be one knee falls out, the opposite arm goes out to the side, then we pull it back into the midline. The hand and the knee that stay still, imagine they're holding onto or pushing into a little rope, so they're staying in the same line as each other. So we keep that lovely midline throughout. So opposite arm and leg, reaching out away, and then pull it back in, staying nice and balanced over your ball. We'll go for one more to each side. Breathing out as we go away, in as we come back in. And then back to center, and then rest. You can bring your knees to your chest, give them a little hug here, and then release the feet back down. And then now we'll go up into spine curl. So, palms are facing up, shoulders nice and relaxed, collarbones are open. You're gonna pull the heels towards your bottom just a little bit more, but you're still in that alignment, ankles, knees, and hips. Do a couple of pelvic tilts. Feel your lower abdominals doing the work to tilt and flatten and pull the pubic bone up to the belly button. And then on this next one, pull it through and then squeeze the bottom, push down into the heels, roll the pelvis up, and then now one vertebrae at a time, lifting all the way through into your spine curl. Really tuck the bottom, so tuck the glutes under, and feel like you're pushing long over your knees here. Then when you're ready, relax through the ribs. Try and press the rib cage back down to the floor, but keeping the hips lifting as much as you can. Once you then roll one vertebrae back down, you'll feel your lower back going down before the pelvis. Then release the hips, and then we'll roll through again. So tucking through, healing one vertebrae at a time up, keeping those ribs down and heavy. Pelvis is lifting and tucking, and then slowly pull the ribs into the mat. and then round all the way back down, lengthening your spine. We'll go for 3 more here with your normal spine curl. And then rolling back through in your own time. Mobilize your spine. See if you can get it to move 1 vertebra at a time, just getting each segment to go one by one, rounding, lengthening, articulating. Last one here. Roll all the way through, squeeze the bottom muscles as tight as you can, and then we'll roll down all the way and release. And then now we're going to add in hip circles. So typically we'll just start with the hip circles normally. So hands on hips but elbows on the mat. Slide one leg away and lengthen it and drop it into the mat. Float the other leg up into a tabletop position. For the easier version, you can stay here, or for the harder version, you'll reach the leg long. So when you're ready, whichever version you're going to do, you're going to pull your abdominals into the mat and pull the back of your knee into the mat. Take the leg out to the side, swoop it around and bring it through across the body. So nice big circles. From here, we need to make sure the shoulders stay down on both sides and that you're not pressing into your elbows. So you'll feel it if you are here. So swooping around into circles. And then after this next one, we'll change direction. So from here, reverse it, go across the body, lengthen the leg, reach with the toe like you're reaching out, just another centimetre away for a big, as if you're painting on the ceiling here. So really lengthening from your hip socket, lengthening the other leg away, keeping the back of the knee down. Last one here, and then fold the knee and float it back down. Now slide the other leg up, so slide this leg away now, push the back of the knee down, push the abs into the mat, float the leg up, go with whichever leg position you want. Then when you're ready, you go out to the side, swoop the leg down, and then go across your body and come all the way through. I want lots of length through both legs, so you're trying to lock out both kneecaps as much as you can. Check you're not holding tension in the back of your neck, so you're not pushing your head down into the mat, you're keeping quite relaxed. Shoulder blades are nice and heavy. And then after this next one, change direction. So we go across the body, swoop it down and take it up through the outside. Last one. And then bend the knee and release back down. Now we'll add that in with your spine curl. So fold the feet back up towards your bottom. You can have your arms on the floor with your palms facing up so they're nice and heavy, not pushing down. Or you can rest your hands onto your hips, whichever you prefer for this one. When you're ready, you'll roll up into your spine curl. If you've got your hands on your hips, your elbows will lift. We're now going to fold, or bring our heels a bit closer together, but then fold one knee back up into that start position. Again, be it that it's knee circles or full leg circles, and then from there, we're going to circle around. You'll notice that as soon as you go out to the side, you want to push your hip out and your opposite knee out. So you're keeping the pelvis still and making sure we're not moving the rest of our body, it's just the legs. So it's smaller circles here as we've lost that stability. Last one. And then change direction, go across the body, go down, swoop away, open to the side and out and up. Keep the leg long. We've got one more circle here, keep pushing up with the bottom muscles. And then bend the knee, lower the foot back down, roll the spine back down before we change to the opposite side. So we've got 5 circles each way. Rolling back up, keep the elbows up if you've got hands on hips, shoulders nice and heavy. Abs are drawn in, glutes are tight. Float one knee up, then either knee or hip circles, go out to the side first, swoop across the body. Keep the pelvis nice and still. Think of really supporting with abs and glutes as much as you can with this exercise. Last one. And then coming through and changing direction, so going across the body, out to the side and up. Keep your knee as still as possible on the supporting leg. We've got one more. Nice big circle, round, up, bend the knee and lower back down, then lower one vertebrae at a time. When you get to the bottom, bring your knees into your chest, give them a little hug. And then now coming all the way through, we're going to go into a sideline position, but we're going to use our soft ball underneath our waist to go through some clams next. So you'll have your shoulder right over the top of your elbow. You're going to bring this ball in and put it right underneath your waist. Then have your knees bent forwards, heels in line with the rest of the spine. You're going to lift away from your ball, shoulders back and away, and feel like you're pulling the crown of your head through this way. When you're ready, hips stay stacked. We're going to turn out with our knee and then slowly lower back down. So just a nice little turn out here with your clam. Make sure the pelvis stays forward, and I want you to think of having a nice flat back. So tuck the tailbone under and pull pubic bone up to navel, and especially when you get to the top, tighten the abs here. We will go for 4 more here with clam level 1, and then we're going to take it to clam level 2. So you're lifting the chest, we don't start to slump. We lift our waist away from the ball and we don't drop down into it. Now from here, clam level 2, lift your heels up, keep the waist up, so you're not pressing into the ball, you want to be lifting the whole time. And then turning out here with clam level 2. I've still got a nice strong posture. I'm widening my collarbones, lifting my chest, lifting the waist, making sure I've got a long spine here. And then 4 more again with our clam level 2 before moving on to clam level 3. So last one. Then you'll keep the bottom foot up on the first step, take the top foot to the second step, and then off we go for clam level 3. This gets a lot tighter. Now we've already got the abduction, we've lifted, and then we're adding in that external rotation. So it's a lot harder. We'll go for 4 more. And 3. And 2, last one. And then rest. Well done. We're going to change to the other side now. So swapping yourself over. Okay, so you have your elbow underneath your shoulder. You pop the ball in right underneath your waist, just keeping it in, keeping the waist lifted. We lift the chest, widen the collarbones, knees are a little bit in front of you, heels are in line with the body, and you tuck the tailbone under. Then when you're ready, off you go into your clam level 1. So I'm lifting my collarbones away from the floor, I'm lifting my waist. I'm keeping a tuck of the tailbone, so pulling pubic bone to navel. The more you push your hip forward and tuck the tailbone under, the more you'll get this into your bottom muscles, right into the right place. So do exaggerate it a little bit, roll that top hip forwards and tuck the tailbone as much as you can. Then you'll really feel like you're isolating it. We're still lifting our chest and we're still lifting our waist away so you don't start to feel a bit of pressure pressing into your ball. Then we'll go for 2 more. And then we'll lift both heels up. Now we'll go in for your clam level 2. So keeping the heels lifted the whole time. Keep the chest lifted and the abs drawn in. We're keeping our waist away. And then we're going to go for 3 more. And then we're going to keep the bottom foot up, lift the top leg up. The top foot's onto our second step now. And now we're going to try and do our clams from here. So it gets a lot harder. We've already abducted. Still roll that hip forwards and draw the abs in. Really isolate it into glutes as you get that turnout. Keep the chest lifted. Keep your waist away from the ball. Last 3. And last 1. And then rest, give it a pat and a rub. Well done. We'll go into some glute stretches next. So you can lie down onto your back. I'm going to use my head cushion again here. And then from here, just going to cross my ankle over my knee, pull my leg into my chest, give it a nice little hug, and rock left and right a little bit here. And then change over to the opposite side. So crossing the ankle over the knee, pull the thigh in towards you, little rock left and right. And then release. So I'm going to take you into your side lying arm openings next. You'll need your thick head cushion for this. So if you've got a nice thick pillow at home, go and grab it. I'm going to stack up my block and my flat head cushion here for this one. So I'm going to show you with the arm openings, the position I want you to be in. So you're going to lie on your side and imagine you're sat on a chair, so your knees are up at hip height, so they're not a little bit lower, so you pull them right through. As we go through the arm openings, I want you to focus on the movement happening really from the spine rotating. So my top hand's going to slide over my bottom hand, and I'm going to roll my shoulder blade back to the floor. And then only once my shoulder blade's back and I've twisted my spine, then will I open through the top arm. What I'm looking for is that the shoulder doesn't pop up and the hand is lower than my shoulder, so I don't want it to be this movement. So it's pulling the shoulder blade to the floor, then the arm can reach out, very last thing. So you're lying onto your side, you'll make sure the shoulders are stacked, so this bottom shoulder's down, and you're supported with your cushion, your head's at the front of it, so you've got room to roll back without rocking off the cushion. So hands stack up, you bend the knees up, we keep the hips stacked. Slowly I roll my upper body back, as if I'm twisting to bring my shoulder blade to the floor. My hand slides across my body, it goes across the bottom arm and then across the chest. Then look out to the opposite side, I pull the shoulder blades into the floor a little bit more and then reach the arm all the way over as far as you can. If you can get your shoulder blade to the mat, do, and then reach the fingertips further. Now feel that you're still stacking the hips, so you're going to push that top hip forwards away from this arm now and get that lovely side stretch. Then reach the hand up to the ceiling, big circle all the way up, and we rotate back through. So keeping the hips stacked, roll back through the upper body, keep this arm going across the chest, pull the shoulder blade into the floor, then reach the arm out long, stretch between the handspan, push the hips forwards as much as you can, and then roll back through. We'll go for 2 more to this side before changing to the opposite side. So a lovely stretch. You may feel this depending where you're tightest. It could be over the front of the arm, could be in the shoulder, could be in the ribs, or it might be in the waist and the hip. It just depends where you feel the tension. And then coming all the way back through, we'll go for 1 more. We're going to hold this last one for a nice big stretch and breathe into it. So rolling back with the upper body, keep the hips stacked forwards, pull the shoulder blade to the mat, reach the arm long, hold this position, keep pushing the hips forwards and the shoulder blade down. And then bring it back through and we'll change to the opposite side. So you stack yourself with your knees as high as your hips, like you're sat on a chair. Hands are stacked, shoulders are down, especially the bottom shoulder. Now when you're ready, you rotate through the upper back. You roll back as far as you can with the shoulders and the chest. Hand slides across your chest. And then you reach over, pulling the shoulder blade down. Push the top hip forwards as far as you can. And then reach through to the ceiling. Nice big circle back. So these arm openings, movement here where you pull the elbow back and then reach the fingertips through. Pull the shoulder blade to the floor, push the top hip through, feel the stretch. You may notice a difference from left to right side as you do this. Shoulder blade goes down as much as you can. Keep pushing the hip forwards. And then this next one, we're gonna hold it and keep the stretch. So you slide through, we go into our full arm openings, pull the elbow down to the floor, the shoulder down to the floor, keep pushing the hip forwards and breathe into the stretch. And then bring it back through, coming all the way back, and then relax. Now we're going to go up into a seated position, and I'm going to grab my block. If you've got cushion and you want to do this for a bit of comfort, you can do. So I pop the block underneath my bottom, And then I just want you to feel like your knees can just relax down. And then we'll do a couple of pelvic tilts where we'll roll our pelvis forwards towards the pubic bone and then roll it back towards the tailbone. And then just find that nice mid position where you're centered over your pelvic diamond. We'll roll the shoulders back and round, we'll lift the chest up, keep the shoulders nice and heavy, bring the hands into prayer position, and now we'll go into spine twist. So take a nice deep breath in, wide into the rib cage. Keep a nice alignment through your top line so my nose stays in line with my fingertips as I rotate around. I'm keeping my shoulders relaxed and down. So the rotation really happens through the waist, and it should be as if you're twisting your ribs over your hips as you go through the spine twist. Take a breath in as you come back to center, and then breathe out as you twist around. Keep the knees feeling quite heavy so we're not starting to get tension into our thighs as we do it. So legs are heavy, we're centered over our pelvic diamond. Breathing in to come into center, exhale, rotate round. Inhale, back through, last one. And then coming back through to the midline. Now from here, just rest your hands onto your thighs. You have palms facing up or down, whatever works for you. I just want you to find your center to finish off with and a nice tall posture. So you'll roll again forwards and backwards through the pelvis. Find that mid position where you're halfway between, and at this point just feel like your pelvis is level, so that bucket of water feeling. Then think about your ribs. So we're going to flare the ribs to the front and then pull the ribs around and round to the back. So we're pulling the ribs forwards like they're on string going forwards, and then pull the ribs backwards. So you're opening to the front and the back. Now find that mid position where they're neither pulled forwards and they're not pulled back. At the same time now, let the shoulder blades just feel really heavy. Feel like you're widening your collarbones if you're getting your collarbones to smile. And then just do a few chin nods. So you'll drop your chin down towards the chest and then float up and float your nose up to the corner of the room. And then I want you to find halfway position where you're not stretching your neck down, but you're not creasing your neck to go up. So you keep that halfway place and your chin should be level with the floor here. And then I just want you to feel like you're being lifted through the crown of your head. You feel an extra stretch through the spine. Hold that lift up, hold the stretch, and then just feel all the muscles relaxing into position. So let the shoulders go heavy, let the abdominals just relax and the ribs drop down. The lower back muscles should be nice and relaxed, thighs should be nice and relaxed. And just feel what this nice, tall, seated posture feels like. I want you to take a little Polaroid snap in your head as to this feeling. And then next time you're in your seated position, be it that you're at your computer or you're driving, I want you to just reset, take that Polaroid snap back out and take a little moment just to set yourself so there's no tension through the spine or the shoulders or the neck. We're not rounding. We just keep this easy length through the spine. Thanks for joining me today. Well done.